Thank you for the introduction. This is Paul Hunkar. I'm Director of Compliance for the OPC Foundation. I'm also a consultant. Uh, Today I'm here to talk about APL certification that the OPC Foundation offers. So, in the previous presentation, you had a description of Ethernet Advanced Physical Layers, so APL. I'm not going to go through it in too much detail, but the key point here is that it's a two-wire protocol that you can support devices on. It's intrinsically safe and supports power across the two wires. So it's Ethernet communication, somewhat restricted data rates, but it is an Ethernet device at the end. So APL is an organization that has generated certification and testing for it, and it's something that the OPC Foundation can offer testing for too. So it's available from our lab. We can test products that are implement Ethernet APL, even if they don't have OPC UA as the communications that runs over the protocol. So it's a sort of standard set of tests that can be run. When you register for your product, you can list the fact that it supports Ethernet APL and have it tested. You don't have to actually have OPC-UA interfaces in it. How can we do this so that it's the same as everybody else? Well, part of it's the Ethernet APL work group. They defined a whole lot of documents describing the certification test labs. So it's equipment lists that you would need to run the tests. It's a conformance summary. It's even a submission form for EMC tests, uh, audit form, and the actual methods for implementation of data tests and power tests. So all of that's described for each test lab. So test labs are running the exact same things and they're doing the same tests. What you guys are probably more interested in is actually product testing. The product testing has a standard set of specifications defining port profile, data test specification, a power test specification, and an EMC test specification. So all of this is clearly defined, and you can get these documents from the OPC Foundation's website. So under our specifications, if you look for other, you will find the uh, basically the Ethernet APL specifications. So I could download them, read them, look at them. They're all free. Foundation offers all its documentations is free. So you may want to ask who the Ethernet APL consortium is. It's really made up of a set of SDOs, so standards bodies, Fieldcom Group, ODVA, PI, so Profibus, Profinet International, and then, of course, the OPC Foundation. We work together to make sure that there's documentations that allows us to share results. So if you had your product tested in an ODVA lab, you could bring your product to the OPC lab. We would accept the OPL portion of the certification, and we would just be testing the OPC-UA communications on the device. Same though goes for if you test it in the OPC lab, the other organizations will accept our results. So the key thing here is that tests are shareable. There are certain requirements, and we can't do a la carte testing. You have to do the complete set of tests, and you have to use the two eyes is required. But it's a fairly normal set of restrictions, so you just have to have complete tests. You may be wondering why this happened. Well, the APL consortium is more than just these standard bodies. There's also actually a list of industrial partners that joined. So these partners all typically have devices that speak more than one of the protocols. So they may have OPC UA and PI or ODVA and any of the other communications groups. So when ABB brings a product to a lab, and it's testing it for OPC and it's testing the APL piece, it doesn't want to have to also bring the product back to the PI lab and have it retest the exact same APL tests. So PI lab would accept the OPC results and it just has to test the PI aspects, the Profibus or Profinet. So the same thing can happen from all of these vendors, and that's what prompted the sharing of results. So what happens once you pass the APL testing? You still have to have it OPC tested, so it still gets the normal compliance testing, interoperability testing, robustness, efficiency, and usability tests. We still use the same CTT for testing. Note, when we checked this and verified that it all works with the APL devices, we had to adjust some timings in the CTT, but those are now just configuration settings. APL devices are somewhat a little slower, so occasionally there were some timing issues in the tests. You generate the same result when you're all done. So it is effectively the same tests you would have for a device that's on regular Ethernet versus APL. When you're all done, you end up getting a certification and a logo and get the product listed in the marketplace. The product will include the fact that it's an APL device. Oh, and by the way, if you are interested in safety, OPC Foundation actually has a black channel. This black channel can even be used on a APL device. You may have to be careful with the timing you've set because of, like I said, APL devices tend to be a little slower. But APL device can be part of a safety communications. Why? OPC black channel will run across the APL and allow us to have the same certification that you would have for a regular device for the safety devices. So whether it's on APL or on the network. That's a very quick summary of what we have for APL certification. It's available now. You come to the lab and have your product tested, and it doesn't have to have OPC UA in it. You can just bring it in and have the APL testing. Our prices and our fees for lab testing are all published on the website. If you're a member, of course, you get a discount. But again, product doesn't have to have OPC UA in it. Well, and I think that brings us to the end of our session. So at this point, we're probably going to have questions. Thank you very much.